Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com. Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Great to have you joining me today. It's also been cool to have people joining me on Periscope recently as well. I've been doing Periscopes and doing scopes. Sorry, that's the correct noun. Not every day, but at least a few times a week, talking about my language routine and how I've been studying. So if you have yet to sign up, then please do so. You can download the Periscope app on your phone, and you can search for Olly Richards, and you'll find me in there, and we can hang out online. Now, today we got a great question that comes from an iTunes review, and a shining example for everybody. Someone who's gone and left me a star rating and review on iTunes, which is really cool because it helps other people to find the show. And a lot of people have been finding the podcast recently, and it's all thanks to you guys who have been leaving reviews. So if you haven't done so yet, I'd really appreciate that. You can just search for the podcast on iTunes and leave me a review. Now, this question comes from Tenacitis, and I have no idea how to pronounce that, so I'm just saying it like I see it. Wonderful review. Thanks so much for that. And the question is about using apps for texting and for kind of text chat in a foreign language. So this person goes on to say, I have a question regarding natural exposure via writing. I self-study and practice with natives 2 to 3 times a week. Following your detailed review of HelloTalk, I downloaded the app. I've been using it every day for short bursts of language practice. I seem to find that writing or texting regularly in a chat format has greatly helped me with my oral fluency. I imagine it's due to the extended time spent thinking in Spanish. And here's the question. Do you think that conversational writing is something that will assist people who don't have 2 to 3 hours weekly to get onto Skype? Can it help push forward towards a higher level of fluency? Oh, and it's signed off by Andy. So Tenacitis is actually Andy. So Andy, thanks for your question. So just to recap for anyone that didn't quite get that, what Andy's saying is that he's been using HelloTalk, which is a great app that I reviewed in a previous episode. I can't quite remember which one. So he's been using it to chat in Spanish. And he's also been getting on Skype 2 or 3 times a week to have conversation practice, and he's been finding that it really helps. But if you're not regularly speaking, just how beneficial is this kind of text chat to your language learning? Now, I've done both. I go through phases of using things like HelloTalk. I mean, I really like HelloTalk, the app, and I like kind of text chat or internet chat in general because it just, what it does is it's like speaking, but it just slows down the process, right? So you've got time to think. So I've used it both in languages that I speak regularly and also in languages that I don't. And actually, there have been plenty of languages, thinking especially of Arabic and Cantonese, where you either don't write or can't really write. And I've actually missed that. I've missed the kind of the possibility of actually writing and practicing in that way. So I do like it, and it's definitely worth checking out. So here's my view on whether this can help people or not. So the big advantage of text chat when you're learning a language is that you get to learn real colloquial language, right? People don't chat in the same way as they write a book, so you're not going to learn a bunch of literary language and stuff that you won't need from text chat. You're going to learn a bunch of things that are actually used by real people in conversation, right? So huge advantage there, just like listening to someone talk, really. You also get to learn lots of common expressions, so things that people will just use whilst they're chatting with other people, and that can obviously help you when it comes to speaking as well. The fact that it's interactive, you're asking each other questions, there are misunderstandings from time to time. You might need to kind of try hard to extend the conversation or keep the conversation going. These are all things that happen in speaking, in spoken interaction as well. So in that sense, there's a lot of parallels between text chat and speaking. There's also the frequency of practice. So, like, if you do speak your target language a lot, you can probably only do it a couple of times, 2 or 3 times a week, because it takes organization, right? You have to find someone. But with something like HelloTalk, you can do it all day, every day if you want. So that frequency of being able to practice by texting is also really helpful because it keeps your mind tuned in to the learning process. And yeah, for me, it is like speaking, but just slowed down, because the biggest difficulty of speaking, as you know, is that it all happens so quickly, doesn't it? You've got to, on the fly, think about what you want to say, and also try hard to catch what other people say back to you. So texting slows it down. Now, the great thing is if you are speaking regularly on italki or something during the week, there is plenty of opportunity to take what you learn from your text chats and to implement that in speaking. But what if you don't? What if you're kind of texting in a language that you don't speak very often? I think it depends on your level, and it also depends on the language. I remember back to I think last year in Egypt, I spent quite a lot of time using HelloTalk in Japanese, and it actually distracted me quite a lot from my work. I was texting back and forth with people in Japanese, and it was fun, and I did learn the occasional word and stuff. But I honestly didn't find it particularly helpful, and the reason was that I think that was primarily due to my level of Japanese when I was doing it. So my Japanese is okay; it's pretty good. I'm very comfortable speaking daily interaction. And when you're doing text chat, that's pretty much what you get. It's regular speaking, normal interaction. There's not a lot there to push you if you're already at a kind of fairly good level. So there would be the occasional word I didn't understand, and I'd look it up. But, when you compare it to the actual amount of time I was spending, I didn't feel it was particularly beneficial. And I also wasn't speaking much Japanese at the time, so I didn't have much to tie it into. Maybe if I was speaking a lot of Japanese, then the two would have tied themselves together. I'm not really sure. So yeah, I think that if you are a lower level, then it probably helps a lot more. So if I was to try and pick up my Italian again, for example, it would probably be an excellent thing to do because I still understand Italian, but I haven't spoken it for 15 years, so I would need a lot of practice to get it back. So then text chat would be really, really good. So yeah, it's a difficult one, Andy, to be honest. I think really, if you're not speaking with real people regularly on Skype or whatever, then nothing is going to be a particularly good substitute. The text chat's going to help, especially if you're a lower level, but really, it's the speaking that you need to be doing on a regular basis, as you know. So yeah, I'd say if you're already speaking a lot, then the text probably isn't going to add a huge amount to your experience of learning. If you're at a lower level still, you're still a beginner, I think text chat can be it's very difficult to say that, actually, text chat, for some reason. It doesn't come out of my mouth properly. Text chat can be very beneficial for you as a beginner, but, don't let it stop you getting to the speaking. This is the big danger, I think. People can get quite comfortable texting, but never actually make the leap to actually speaking with real people, and it's essential that you do that. So I hope that helps, Andy. I get the feeling it's more of a kind of curiosity question for you rather than a practical one, because you're already speaking a lot. But I hope that was useful. That's my 2 cents on it. If you'd like to ask me a question, please do. You can do it in an iTunes review, like Andy did, or you can leave me a voicemail. And if you'd like to do that, you can go to iwillteachyourlanguage.com/ask, and that will enable you to send me a voice message. Now, at the end of every episode, as you know, because I say it every time, I like to leave you with a resource of some kind on the topic of the show. And I found a cool little article from globaldigitalcitizen.org. I hadn't come across this website, but they've got a very nice summary article here, which would be great for all you teachers out there. And it's called 7 Ways You Can Use Texting to Your Advantage in the Classroom. So if you are a teacher, and even if you're not, if you're interested in teaching and you'd like to know how you can use the medium of texting in a language to improve your students' experience in the classroom, then this is a great article. You're going to really, really enjoy it. I'm going to put the link to this in the show notes, which you can find at iwillteachyourlanguage.com/episode 63. So thank you so much for listening. For those of you in the UK, hope to see you at the Polyglot Pub event or the Polyglot Workshops next weekend. And I'll see you in the next episode of the podcast. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to today's episode, and in case you didn't already know, I teach languages in a rather unusual way through stories. Now, stories are a great way to learn a new language because when you're engrossed in a story, you remember things more easily, and the mechanics of the language just start clicking inside your brain. It's quite something, and if you'd like to find out how you can learn a new language or improve your skills in a language that you already know and do it with the power of stories, then you should check out my free Story Learning Kit, which will teach you exactly how this method works and how you can use it yourself to learn a new language. Visit storylearning.com/podkit, that's PODKIT, to get free access. Inside, you'll find explanatory videos, masterclasses, worksheets, short stories to practice with, and much, much more. Once again, that is storylearning.com/podkit, PODKIT, and if you're lucky, you might also find a link in the podcast description or show notes of this episode.